A very good evening, and thanks for clicking on to the late edition of Vogan's European Outlook for Thursday, the 18th, 19th of August. These are the current sea surface temperatures globally at the moment. You can see here very, very warm across the Arctic, through the Mediterranean, surrounding Indonesia. We've got also very, very warm water here across the North Atlantic, and this is very, very interesting indeed. Off eastern portions of the United States and Canada, and to the north of the British Isles. And folks, that is something very much worth keeping an eye on as we push in towards the autumn time, and this could have impacts on promoting high latitude blocking, North Atlantic blocking for the upcoming winter season. But if you look at it globally, you're saying to yourself, wow, there's quite a lot of warmth in the waters, and yeah, there is. But there's a couple of interesting things to take note of. Notice here we've got very cold waters over Hudson Bay compared to normal. Over the northern portion of the Baffin Sea, we've got a tongue of cold water extending from the North Atlantic in towards the UK, further south as well over the Atlantic. We're also keeping an eye on the Eastern Pacific because the waters are cooling, and it looks as if we are starting to become more confident that we're going to see waters cooling to the point where we reach La Nina status once again. But folks, this has really caught my attention, and I can't quite believe this actually, is look at what's happening in the waters surrounding Japan, extending out into the Pacific. Folks, a couple of weeks ago, we had an entirely opposite sea surface temperature profile in this region of the world. It was boiling warm. We've seen records breaking day after day throughout Japan and Taiwan. We had incredible heat over this portion of the world, and you look at the difference in sea surface temperature over the last 7 days, and globally, we are cooling things down around the world. So that is very, very impressive. I can't get my head round how 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 quickly the waters have cooled in this region of the world here, specifically the Sea of Japan extending out into the North Pacific. So that is very, very noteworthy indeed. Looking at the sea ice, Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere. So while many sources have essentially declared that July 2021 was the hottest on record for the planet. So not just the hottest July, but the hottest month ever recorded in the satellite era. So take that whatever way you want to, but it's interesting how in the Arctic we're at the fourth lowest July sea ice extent, fourth lowest. So with records still going to 2012, we had a far lower sea ice extent in 2019, and of course last year 2020 was seen a less extent of Arctic sea ice than we do this year. So a couple of things are kind of puzzling, if you will. In terms of the Antarctic, we're at a 6 year high in terms of Antarctic sea ice extent. So while you may think heat waves, the world's boiling over, this can definitely kind of starts to question certain aspects in terms of what's really going on here. So I just wanted to show you that things that you're potentially not seeing elsewhere here. So it's just kind of trying to keep perspective and trying to see that there is more to it than just heat waves, records breaking. I did see one tweet by a person that said that 80% of the world's records remain intact since what I think the 1950s. So 80% of the world's records remain pre 1950s, which is also interesting as well. So GFS Ensemble, upcoming 5-day period, high pressure to the north of the UK, less pressure down further south, always opening the door, especially towards the southwest, for low pressure, trying to make inroads, trying to push in towards the southwestern portion of the British Isles. Always drier, always warmer, further north in a sense. Upcoming the period between the 6 to 10 days looks like this. Ridge strengthens to the north of the UK. Notice a common denominator blocking further north than normal. We've got a weaker pressure further south here. So we continue to maintain this kind of blocked up pattern. We've had it now for the past, the best part of this year, in fact. You only have to look back at the spring, how cold it was. Then through June, July, even August, we've had stronger than normal pressure further north here. And that could be a byproduct of the solar minimum that was seen occur a couple of years ago here. And this all starts to tie in with the potential for continued blocking as we push into the winter season, and then of course look out for a colder potential pattern. And this is the 11 to 15 day period. Again, high latitude blocking over Scandinavia. We could start to see an increase in temperature in this region of the world. So short and sweet today. Hope you have a great one, and I'll be back as always in the next couple of days with more. Have a great evening. Bye bye.